Okay, good morning, everyone. So it's really awesome and a pleasure to be here. Um, Phil, thank you very much for putting together this amazing event. It's nice to see really finally have people from all over the world. And thank you for the opportunity. Um, Before we get started, and there are probably some of you in the crowd that are asking yourself, Snapchat? I haven't heard of them in a while. Maybe I used them in the past. Maybe I ran some campaigns with them in the past, but I haven't heard about them in a while, and I really wonder what they're up to. You may know Snap as that fun, mic's not working, the fun kind of social media platform with the cool camera features, the puking rainbows, the dog ears, the dancing hot dogs. But, these are all part of what Snapchat is all about today. They are definitely at the center of our innovative things that we're doing. But at the end of the day, us advertisers are coming to events like Israel Mobile Summit because we're looking for new opportunities. We're looking for our next big growth channel, our next big avenue for growth. And if I want you guys to walk away with one thing from this session, is maybe a set of questions or a checklist to help you identify what actually can make your next big growth avenue. My name is Alaluf. I've been in mobile marketing for almost 10 years. I got started at Yellowhead, where I started in App Store optimization. I spent several years at Playtica, where I managed a couple of teams in marketing. Times at a startup where I did some product. And today at Snap, I lead our apps and gaming partnerships in the export markets, mainly here in Israel, but also abroad. And again, it's a pleasure to be here. So let's first answer the question, why Snap? Why can a platform like Snap be my next big growth channel? And we like to do this by first starting to break some misconceptions. When we start working with new advertisers or when we're meeting new partners, we often get misconceptions, particularly here in Israel, where, Snap might not be part of our day-to-day culture. We are very much a WhatsApp country. It is what it is. But let's start breaking these misconceptions. The first one being that Snapchat is a thing of the past. This is actually far from true. Snapchat is still one of the biggest and fastest growing social platforms in the world. We have over 930 MAU. More than half of them are daily active users. The reason being that Snap is unique in that it's not just a platform where users come to discover content. It's more so a platform of communication. People open the app many times a day to reach out to friends, to stay in touch with family. And so this is, why you see this healthy DAU to MAU ratio. And not only that, but this user base is constantly growing. So quarter over quarter, you see the growth rate where we have really great momentum towards that 1 billion MAU mark. And we have presence all over the world. Of course, our leading geos are still those tier one English-speaking countries where we first got started and set our roots, US, UK, Australia, Canada. But as of late, our growth is driven by additional markets, particularly in Europe, in GCC, which Snapchat is very much, the WhatsApp of some of these GCC countries, and India, which has actually grown to become our biggest market in terms of reach. So our user base is growing. We have presence all over the world, but on top of that, our users are highly, highly engaged. They open the app about 25 times a day. They create 5 billion snaps every day. And this is actually a stat that I found super, super intriguing. Our top 500 Snap stars are basically our influencers, post 166 stories a day on average. This is incredible. This is like unheard of in social media. And given the expanding audience, given the engagement, we're also seeing more and more advertisers come to the platform with our audience, with our advertisers having grown 60% year over year. Misconception number 2 is that Snapchat's audience is not for me. There is a kind of misconception that Snapchat's users are kids. And yes, while our kids like to open the app and play with the cool camera features, again, this is definitely a misconception. And while we do cover most of this younger demographic, so 75% of 13 to 34-year-olds use Snap. Again, it's not that 75% of our users are 13 to 34. We reach 75% of this demographic. But I think the more interesting stat here is that a quarter of our users around the world are over the age of 35. And if we zoom into the US, it's 1/3 of our users. These are users like me. I live in Israel today, but I grew up in the US. I used Snapchat 14 years ago when it first came out. I still use it today to communicate with my friends in the US. So this demographic kind of matured with the platform. On top of that, Snap's audience is quite unique and creates an incremental audience because users, again, come to Snap for something different. They don't come just to consume content. So what you actually see is that Snapchatters are very unique to the platform. In the US, for example, 37% of Snapchatters are not on Facebook. Over half of them are not on YouTube. 40% aren't on TikTok, and over 30% are not on Instagram. And the last, but definitely not least, misconception is that Snapchat is not a performance-first platform. While Snap is a very strong and a leading platform for brand marketing, you can see you can do amazing things like this McDonald's ad here, which lets you turn yourself into a dancing McRib, and still very much is, a leading brand platform. We have taken major steps to capitalize on our unique and our quality audience to turn ourselves into a performance platform. For example, The Office here in Tel Aviv, which got started about 7 years ago, is purely performance dedicated. We do not do brand. We purely work with performance advertisers. And if we dive into our audience, I mentioned high quality audience. Snapchat users, they download apps that they discover on Snap. 65% download apps that they discover on Snap. 57% make in-app purchases. Nearly 60% have made multiple in-app purchases in an app that they've discovered on Snap. So not only are users looking for new apps, but they're also very much willing and ready to pay for the apps that they discover on Snap. And if we just really quickly zoom in on two of our leading verticals, one being mobile gaming, our users are definitely gamers. They're interested in discovering new games. And again, they are very much willing and ready to pay within mobile games. Same for another leading vertical, which is finance. Over half our users use finance apps on a daily basis, and over 40% have made in-app purchases in finance apps. So our audience is growing. They're highly engaged. They're looking for new apps. And, what we realize is the amazing potential and the opportunity of becoming a leading performance platform. So we've really been on a journey to transform our ads business on Snap and really turn ourselves into very much a platform for performance. And when we do this, it's important for us to cover 4 main pillars and make sure that our advertisers are getting solutions that are kind of perfect for them and help them meet their KPIs. This covers everything from making sure we have engaging ad formats, making sure that our solutions actually perform. At the end of the day, we know how things work. If we're not meeting KPIs, we're not getting budgets. So we put a lot of investment into performance solutions, making sure that our models are optimizing to and reporting on the correct signals. And of course, that everything is measurable. We're in a world where every advertiser, every business kind of measures a little differently. So we also have some updates on kind of the measurement solutions we're providing to make sure they're tailored for every partner. And with this, over the last year, we'll kind of dive into some of the things we've introduced, but all these things ultimately have driven significant growth since last year, with over 70% increase in purchase related conversions across our ad business on Snapchat. So let's dive in to some of the things that we recently introduced, starting with ad formats. For those who are not familiar with Snap, we have a range of ad formats because we want to reach the user throughout their journey, whether they're using the camera, whether they're looking for content on Discover, or whether they're coming to chat with friends. We make sure that we reach them every single step of the way, and we make sure that it's organic as possible. And one of our latest additions, really just, Snap has been around for 14 years. Chat has been the main feature, and we just started to monetize this just a few months ago. Basically what happens is you go into chat, you receive a chat from a brand that you're likely to engage with or that you're already engaged with, and it feels completely organic, just like a message you would get from your friends. It's really, really an engaging placement, and it's ultimately driven very strong performance with an 18% uplift in installs and purchases for those advertisers on Snap. We're also taking steps to streamline the experience with the ads to make it easier for the user to decide if they want to install the app or not, and to get them to install quicker. This is, one of the ultimate goals at the end of the day. So what we started to do is actually pull metadata from the App Store. So after the ad, users will get either screenshots or a verified 5-star review from the store, and they can download within Snap natively without redirect to the App Store. This kind of experience ultimately has driven a 26% increase in installs. Note scan installs. So this is obviously postbacks we get from Apple. You can't really argue with it. So the uplift is very significant and very real. And finally, we just the other week introduced playable ads. I'm sure those of us here in gaming are very much familiar with playable ads, probably use playable ads on other channels. So we brought this to Snap. Early in beta testing, we're seeing very, very good results. Many of those testers have turned this format into their business as usual. Next, new performance solutions. So again, we want to make sure we perform. So I think the biggest thing that we've actually rolled out is target cost bidding. In a world where we're looking for more and more automation, Snap actually believes in giving the advertiser more control. So we improved our target cost bidding model. We're letting our advertisers set their CPA, and our campaigns will deliver budget as long as it meets the CPA. So it's a great security net. Most of our advertisers, nearly all of them, are actually using this sort of bidding model as their business as usual. And we can see one of our major advertisers, Yada, have seen great uplift from the target cost bidding, with over 35xing their installs and 60xing their purchases. We're also taking a lot of steps constantly on the back end to make sure you're reaching the relevant audience. Some of us, we don't want to reach reinstallers, or, sometimes we do want to reach reinstallers. We're adding more and more audience filters. We're adding more and more smart targeting options to make sure that you're reaching the most relevant audience. App signals. So we are in a world, obviously, of AI where our models need a lot of as many high quality signals as possible. Whether you are running web campaigns, whether you're on iOS, probabilistic, scan, whether you're on Android, we work very closely with all of our partners to make sure that they are sending the highest quality signals to feed the algorithm, to make sure we're optimizing to the right things, making sure you're hitting this, what we call good quality score. And what we're seeing with advertisers that constantly make sure they're feeding good quality signals, we see significant improvements in performance, both iOS, both Android, but web as well. Our friends here at iGo, having adopted some of our additional solutions, but very much, due to having improved the quality signals, have seen an over 30% increase in their ROI for one of their biggest clients, BetParks. And last but not least, at the end of the day, again, we want to make sure that everything we're providing is very much measurable. Everyone measures kind of differently, so we've rolled out several solutions to make sure that we're providing, the most ideal way for you to capture your performance on Snap. One of the things that has just been released, Snapchat Outcomes. This basically allows you to run probabilistic campaigns while getting scan postbacks. So if you're an advertiser who measures on scan, or if you use scan as a baseline and model on top of that, this is kind of an ideal solution for you because you get to enjoy probabilistic campaigns while also being able to receive those scan postbacks to measure the performance. We're also taking steps to align the reporting and the signals we're optimizing to on Snap. One of the things we rolled out really recently, app acquisition metrics, which will only report in-app conversions that are attributed to Snapchat installs within the last 90 days. This is a very common setting on the MMP side for most partners. So again, making sure that everything is aligned with the MMP. And on that note, and finally, and I think one of the most exciting features, unified attribution, which will optimize towards a combination of MMP signals and Snap signals. But I think more interestingly and at the very core is that it optimizes based on the attribution window that you set in the MMP. So whether it's 7-day click, 1-day view, whether it's 7-day click, 1-hour view, we will make sure that we're optimizing towards that attribution window. And just to wrap things up, before we break out, continue networking, continue meeting partners or potential partners, ask yourself these 4 questions, again, to help you answer the question if this can be your next big growth channel. Does it allow you to reach a new audience at scale? Do they offer performance-driven ad solutions to help you meet your KPIs? Are they measurable? Do I trust the reporting? And last but not least, and I think even most importantly, is the onboarding easy? Can I easily integrate it into my marketing mix? And will the team provide me the support I need? So it's been a pleasure. More than happy, we kind of did a quick run through, more than happy to discuss things one-on-one, either myself or our team here. We have several here in attendance. You can find us on the floor. You can email me here. And I hope this was insightful and that you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.